How's it going, guys? It's Joe. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at GAC 3v3 and we're going to be going against OD1 Padme. I do quite like his nameplay there. Now having a look at the overview, he's got about 7.5 million GP, so he's got the edge there. He does have more tier 7 relics and he has much more defensive wins. Having a look at the lifetime banners, however, he does have 378k, so probably doesn't do too much GAC at this stage. Although having a look at his gear 13s, he does have 125. And lastly, having a look at the mods. I do have the edge there as he's got 22 plus 20 speeds. And pretty matched up in the 6.mod section. So having a look at his stats, he does like to set a decent defense as he usually gets a ton of defensive holds. So it should be an interesting matchup. He has hit Rhodium and it looks like he's working his way up to Kyber. He does have Sith Eternal Emperor, Kylo and Rey. So having a look at the board here, he did set his Palpatine and Padme here in the bottom, along with Grievous. And up at the top is where Rey is at, with Han Solo and Chewbacca. So there's a big chance that there's one Galactic Legend hiding in the back, as I do believe he has set 2 Galactic Legends in the past. However, the advantage here is that he doesn't have Jedi Knight Luke. So really I did utilize Kylo Ren solo against this particular lineup, as his Basilishan is modded pretty fast, so this would be a tough team to beat utilizing the current lineups that I have. The great thing about having this matchup is Malik's Siphon doesn't do any damage to Kylo. And really, it's a pretty easy 55 banner win. So against the Grievous, I did use my Night Sisters. And this time around, my opponent set this particular Separatist lineup with B1 as opposed to B2, as we did last time. And I do believe this is a much stronger lineup, as if you do have a fast B1, it's going to continually feed protection to these Separatist characters. So we lost Talzin there, so I decided to use my revive. And I found that in 3v3 the revives are pretty good, as they come pretty quickly. So really, as you can see, we did lose Spirit. However, we should be able to revive again. So I found that there's no point in saving the revive in 3v3, as you will quickly cycle back and get the revive soon enough. So I did lose all my characters, got the revive back. Going to use my assist ability here and stun Grievous. And we're just building on plague stacks now. And we should end this in with 51 banners. The very least. So a couple of things against this Padme. I've been practicing utilizing Vader with Thrawn lead, as in 3v3 there's not many compositions that you do utilize Vader, and I found that he's quite useful against the Padme squad. As long as you're not adding in Wat Tambor. He doesn't kill Anakin off in the first try here with the Culling Blade, unfortunately. However, we do get his full protection bar down to 0. And now we've got Thrawn taking a turn, so I passed that turn onto Vader. And we're going to try and apply shock onto GK here. And the great thing about having Malak in this particular squad is we do have a safety net. As every time Anakin utilizes his AoE, we're going to be able to fear him. Try and apply ability block here. And hopefully this Cull actually is able to drop Anakin. Which isn't the case. So it's a bit troublesome with all the protection up going around. And I was a little bit worried that I would lose Vader here. So I placed Fracture on GK. And luckily I did have a taunt on Malak at this stage. And I was able to cull Anakin there with a 50k crit. And now that GK doesn't have any protection, the Siphon should be able to take him down. And at this point I was thinking of cycling around a bit, as I do have a bit of spare time, as Padme wouldn't be able to really apply a ton of damage. So trying to build up on stacks, going to place Fracture on Padme, ability blocks and shock. And that should be a 53 banner win. And with that win, we're going to have a look at what's in the back walls. So in the back there isn't any Galactic Legends, which is quite fortunate for us. He did place Mon Mothma, his Bugs and Night Sisters in the back, and there's a timeout team in Kira as well. So as for this Rey, I'm just going to utilize a Rey Mirror, and I do like to place Holdo with that, and I added on a Hermit Yoda as well just to get the banners back. So they went for Holdo fairly quickly there to begin with, so I did place Lifeblood on her. And I was so tempted to utilize Master's Training on Holdo. However, they did start going for Rey here. So I do believe the AI is quite smart in that regard. They kind of dodge who's got Lifeblood and attack who doesn't. So I wanted to get rid of Chewie as soon as I possibly can, so I did drop him there. One more Lifeblood should ensure that we're able to survive the ultimate ability here, as well as a Hurricane if it does occur at some point. Utilize that third ability from Holdo, which replenishes Rey's health. And as we did have 3 stacks of the Lifeblood, or the protection up that we got from Lifeblood, we were able to survive that Hurricane, or Sudden Whirlwind. She utilizes it yet again, and she did go for Hoda that time, so I passed Lifeblood on him instead. And really at this point we're just biding our time, slowly getting through Rey. So in some instances, with 3v3 in particular, I find a Ray without the ultimate ability can be more useful than with the ultimate. As you can see, we're surviving a lot of her attacks here. And we're finally able to get through Han Solo. And it's really the whirlwind that's quite menacing in 3v3. As you can literally just drop any of the characters if they don't have enough protection up. So we did get max banners there, which is pretty good. And against this Hux, I did utilize my resistance team here, led by Finn, with the resistance heroes. The idea here was that I was intending on stunning Hux from the get-go. However, he did have advantage and dominance, so he counterattacked for a ton of damage there. And they did blast through my resistance hero Finn, quite unfortunately. And I wasn't able to really stop them at that point. And I ended up with this team that's preloaded with turn meter, unfortunately. So I wasn't about to muck around with this team. So I utilized Darth Revan. And we're able to make quick work of this team with Darth Revan. So quite unfortunate, but it does happen. And that Hux team, looking back, that Hux actually didn't have the speed. However, he did have the damage and was able to apply enough damage against resistance hero Finn, unfortunately. And this was the other tough lineup. So I wanted to make sure I got this lineup down by utilizing Jedi Knight Revan. As really this Newt Gunray is really fast at about 305 speed. And I believe that Django is modded for speed as well. So they're going to take a ton of turns and really quickly. And the problem with Django in 3v3 is that he, on the last hit, he does regain a ton of protection. And he's doing a ton of damage here as well. So we finally get, they finally proc Savior. And we really want to quickly get rid of this Django. Second attack there drops Revan. Luckily my Jolie was pretty tanky and actually was able to take that attack from Django. We actually did lose Grandmaster Yoda there. However, Jolie survived and I was able to get the Jedi back with that third ability. And we finally dropped Django again. And now we're just gonna go for Newt Gunray here. And really at this point I was thinking this is going to be terrible manners. However, I really just wanted to get out of this battle. And we still did have Jedi Master Luke. So we utilized that against this Bosk. And there was nowhere else I was going to use Bastila Shan or Ahsoka. So this was the perfect team to utilize this against. So we want to quickly get rid of Boba Fett there. So we get a decent 54 banner win. And in terms of the fleets, he did set a Thrawn lead with Seppi ships and his Finalizer. So in the back with the bugs, we're going to utilize our Padme squad. So these bugs are actually relicked quite high. So they're quite a tough team to beat. And in 3v3, we're not getting a ton of protection up stacks, unfortunately. So we had no one else to target, so we went for Sun Fac. And really, ultimately, we want to get to the spy, who's still in the stealth, unfortunately. Now, unfortunately, we did actually use Padme's cleanse before the Brood Alpha utilized his Dispel, which is quite unfortunate. And now we're trying to apply a bit buff immunity on these bugs, potentially apply a ton of damage, as that mass assist from GK is able to drop Spy. We finally get to Brood Alpha on that basic. And I did think to myself, with these Night Sisters, I should be able to utilize this team, as I was going to place Bactoid Shield onto Kylo Ren Unmasked and then utilize the weapon tech. We're doing a ton of damage on Sith Trooper here, 60k on Asajj. We should be able to make quick work of this team. So this is a pretty efficient win against Night Sisters. This Kira team should be a timeout team, and the great teams to use against timeout teams I find are having Nihilus or Mando. As really the ultimate goal is to get to their Annihilate. You should be able to drop them regardless. Now he did have relics on young Lando as well as Kira. So he does have a ton of relics on his characters. It's well spread around his scoundrels and separatists. And if I do remember correctly, he had about 30 more Gear 13s than I did, although I did have the mod advantage. We finally get to our Annihilate there. And we did still have Bosk. And this could be potentially another timeout team, as Baze and Chirrut are relic pretty high. So they're quite tanky, and having Mon Mothma on the leadership allows for them to just continually regain health and protection and just continually assist as well. So it could be quite problematic for us, as they're also able to revive. So we want to get to our payouts here. Once we're able to, we want to cycle around Mando and get his crit chance up via his basic. That should allow us to get to his disintegrate. I do believe we had ability block at that point, and I was able to drop Chirrut there with Boba's execute, which is pretty good. And now we've got the fleets. I did find that utilizing this particular lineup with Negotiator allows for the Negotiator to actually go first. So in that way, we're able to utilize the mass assist from the get-go and just drop one of the Separatist ships. And now we're able to call on Ahsoka's ship. We're going to replenish a bit of protection on Anakin. And now we've got Undying Loyalty out on the field. And surprisingly, he did have Hyena Bomber as one of his reinforcements. So luckily I did wait to call out Plo Koon. So at this point I was very lucky that I was able to cleanse just before I dropped the Hyena. So there's a pretty decent amount of banners. And at this point I did add Kylo Ren unmasked ship with that separatist lineup going against this Finalizer. As I don't really have that much experience going up against Finalizer. However, what I did find was that it's a really fast fleet, and they do take a turn really early on. As you can see, they've stunned off my Sunfac, and Houndstooth is the reinforcement here. I do call out Spy, and I want to drop the SF TIE Pilot here. Then eventually we're going to drop the other ship to the left hand side, and now we've just got the Houndstooth. So that AoE drops Houndstooth, and we got about 61 banners from that battle. So that should be our final score there, guys. And just to recap how my opponent did on offense. In the front walls, he did trip against CLS. In the back, I did have this resistance team that he tripped on as well. Poe Dameron with the resistance vets. Up top, he one-shot everything. And in fleets, he did one-shot those as well. So pretty solid GAC, guys. Quite happy with the results in round 2. Hopefully we continue succeeding in the following ones. But other than that, it's good fun. So thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and hope to see you on the next one.